Okay, so again, we're talking today about digital transformation for local government, and we really are going to focus on the work of our some local partners that are truly exceptional. I do want to start, though, by thanking you all. I'm mindful that, unfortunately, our state's test positivity rate yesterday was 7%. And so, while I think we had all hoped we'd be on the other side of the hard work that you're all doing to keep your residents safe, I am mindful this morning that that work continues, and want to thank you for the role that you all have played in our response. In particular, the work that you've done to get our residents vaccinated. Rhode Island has one of the highest rates of vaccination in the country, and that has been very much led on a municipal level. So wanted to start by saying thank you for your work. Thank you for your continued commitment to the success of our state. And again, hopefully we can talk today about things that might help you advance your goals in maintaining the health and safety, and also the levels of service for your residents. Salesforce is a publicly traded company, and while we're not going to talk really about specific products today, it's important that we say at the start of any conversation that you should make any kinds of decisions you make about things that are available right now, that people are using now, and not about things that might come available in the future. So today you're going to hear mostly not from me. You're going to hear from some of our local stars. Our conversation is going to be moderated by Trevor McLaren, who's a director of solution engineering for Salesforce. The solution engineers at Salesforce are the people who make all my dreams come true when I ask them to solve a problem. They're a brilliant group, so grateful to have Trevor on the call today. And then we have colleagues from two local governments. So from the town of Cary, we have Wilson Farrell, who's a platform strategist, and we have Carolyn Roman, who's the assistant director of 311 for the town of Cary, which is located in North Carolina, which is much warmer than it is in Providence today. And then from the city of Wilmington, Delaware, we have Stephanie Mergler, who's the best practices and innovation specialist, and Derek Akbar, who's administrative services director for Wilmington. And I had the pleasure of speaking with all these folks in preparation, so I can't thank them enough for all of their work, and I'm really excited for them to get to share their stories with you. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing the screen and turn it over to Trevor to get into the conversation. Trevor, thank you so much.
Hey everyone, so I'm going to act as moderator today. Thank you for that great intro, Courtney. We're going to kick it off. I want to start a discussion with our panelists today. And so I'm going to start with Carolyn from Cary. Can you give us an overview of your city and your goals for improving the citizen experience? How did this all get started?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Cary, North Carolina. We're located just outside of Raleigh, and our population growth has really happened in the last 50 years with the establishment of Research Triangle Park. And so we have about 180,000 citizens, and just found out we're about as big as the largest city in Rhode Island, which is Providence. So that's very exciting. We're in great company. Our town has always been committed to making it easy to connect with our citizens in town hall. And with the advent of different technology solutions and what we now have at our disposal, we want it to be as seamless and as easy as ordering something online or doing business with many of the companies in the private sector. And so my role right now is within 311, and we've been operational since January of 2020. And we were so optimistic, and then everything changed like 60 days later. And so we've had quite a different path of growth, but it's still been incredibly fruitful. And we definitely started making progress forward just in very different ways we couldn't have imagined when we decided to turn the lights on. In 311, we average about 3,000 cases a week, and we engage in that capacity with our citizens by email, calling, phone, text messaging, our web portal, and across social media.
That's a great overview. Thanks so much. And Stephanie, over to you. Can you give us an overview of your city and your goals for improving the citizen experience?
Hello, everyone. So Wilmington is the largest city in Delaware, and we are actually only about 70,000 citizens. So the entire state of Delaware is only little less than 1 million people. We are located about 30 minutes from Philadelphia, and we're about midway between New York and DC. So as a city government, we have about 6 offices, 12 departments, and about 1,100 employees. We are enabled by our charter to do basic public services such as police, fire, parks, public works. Public works is our largest department. They station, trash, and recycling pickup. And we also run a water utility that services the larger Wilmington area. Public Works was actually the very first department to really get into digital transformation. They instituted a service tracking system back in 2014. We function very much as kind of like a small town for a long time. Don't call us up on the phone or email us. We didn't have a great system for tracking. We didn't have a great system for, we didn't have a unified system for contacting the city. So Public Works was innovative in bringing on a software to actually kind of track service requests from the public. At the same time, in about 2018, 2017, our finance department contracted with Randstad, based out of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, to start handling some of the calls that come into our call center. In about 2018, 2019, Public Works realized that the tracking system they were using wasn't particularly effective. They worked with finance and consulted with the city of Philadelphia about what it would be like to institute a 311 system. And so we expanded our call center. We took on Salesforce to start handling service tracking. And we expanded the program citywide. So we went live in June of 2020. We used to get about 1,000 service requests in Public Works a year. Now we get about 5,000 requests a month citywide using 311. We'll hit about 66,000 for this year, and about 100,000 overall since we went live in June of 2020. So it's been really exciting to finally have a one-stop shop for citizens to come to us for requests, inquiries, or any other way to contact us.
That's great. A big part of thinking about a digital transformation is thinking about data points and where you start, right? So what kind of data points did, Wilson, I'll go to you from Carrie. What kind of data points were you looking at to inform your vision before you set the strategy for what you all wanted to do?
I think there are kind of, well, I don't know if I'd call them data points. There are certainly areas that we felt like we needed to address with the technologies we were looking at. One was that, like many municipalities, it's a very siloed organization. It was a very siloed organization. Your planning department didn't necessarily talk to your public works department, and your permitting department and your utilities departments did entirely different things. And we really wanted to find something that promoted, information sharing and allowed people to work together to solve problems. And that is, we utilize Salesforce in a great deal in that capacity. Just the ability to use chatter or something on a case is really kind of help that communication happen across the organization, and just giving visibility to data across the organization, which were all squirreled away in different systems that no one had access to outside the individual organization. We also had a good eye toward process improvement.
Mm-hmm.
We just want to make things more streamlined, and especially when we start going across organizational boundaries, you might hit log jams that are outside of your control, and we just want to be able to improve the way things flow in the organization. And I think with an eye towards process improvement, we just need a system that can change with us as we grow, and as we decide to do something differently or make things work the way we need to make it work. And as we started to, develop our concepts around 311 started to play central to everything. Our approach is really a very 311 centered approach that's focused on solving problems for the citizen. And those problems come in through everything, we relate our business data to cases, we relate business data to our GIS components and things like that. And those are all kinds of things that are kind of influence our strategy right now.
Thank you so much, Wilson. Derek from Wilmington, I was going to ask around when you all were thinking about making changes, what were some of the high priority targets that you wanted to improve around citizen? Just curious there if you have any insight.
When developing it and having that conversation, the first initial conversation, our thoughts was to make sure that the customer experience was at top of the list. And so that meant, seeing if Salesforce could implement some of the other things that we use here in the city, such as CityWorks. And CityWorks is our platform that we use to get out to our workers on the street work orders. And so it was we want to make sure that the system could escalate properly. We also wanted a feature for the new and upcoming folks moving into the city of Wilmington, which was chat. That was also at the top of our list to make sure that we can add a feature that individuals can be on the go and chat with individuals within our call center. So that was very important because one of the things we were using prior to Salesforce was a thing called Report and Resolve It. And that was also an on-the-go app. So we wanted to make sure that we captured the individuals that were at home and wanted to use the phone, or the individuals that was on the go. And so those things benefited us greatly. And we also wanted to make sure that we had a system that could help us with being able to, measure our performance. So performance indicators was very important for us as well. 3 years ago, we looked at that and, we could not really get good information. So those are the things that we looked at in developing, what we needed to come out of Salesforce.
That's great insight. Carolyn, same question to you. Any top priorities that you were targeting for improvement when you're like, we'll know we're there when, we've improved this or that?
No, I mean, Wilson
Yeah.
nailed a lot of them. I feel like it's very much focused on the smaller use cases that our employees are feeling off the front end that are all driven with that end goal in mind of 3-in-1 centric. And so if it's something that can touches our citizens externally, there better be some point or notification of it within our Salesforce system so that we all have access to it.
That's fantastic. So I'm going to follow up on that question, and Wilson, feel free to tag in too. What about the most impactful improvements? So you've gone through this transformation, you've gone live. How has this changed how your city operates? So, you talked about the customer experience. What about the impact on how you all as a city work together?
Yeah, we in Cary, we're so fortunate. We have this reputation of delivering high quality customer service. And what we found when we outfitted our research and development group a few years ago is that somehow we were delivering that high quality service by literally passing post-it notes sometimes, and just this very band-aided duct tape system of meeting citizens' requests and fulfilling them in a manner that they had no idea the magic going on behind the curtain. And so being able to implement something like Salesforce, where we can have a centralized source of information that all of our employees, kind of top to bottom, boots on the ground to our city manager, can have access to, it's fundamentally changed the way in which we can provide services. One of our focuses right now is building our knowledge citizen advocate. So citizen advocates are what we call our call takers within the 3-in-1 center proper. But there certainly is a vision that if we have a transportation project person out in the field, or someone at one of our lab plants doing a tour has access to information that seemingly could be unrelated to able to answer questions. And so meeting citizens where they are to deliver the right information at the right time to make those decisions is just the crux of our vision and what we're aiming for. And so much easier to do when we've got tools like this at our disposal.
That's fantastic. Wilson, anything to add? Yeah, any things even you've gone live, what have you learned and what have you tweaked even already, based on your experience? I'm curious if that's good.